Haugen. Check the description box below for tabs and backing tracks on my website, information about exactly what sound tools I'm using today, and all the links. All the links. Slide more, bend less. That's what we're going to talk about today. In terms of effort, the guitar's going to fall. Effort to payoff, which when working on jazz, this especially jazz for rockers, this is a very important thing to think about, because you end up in the deep end real fast. You're like, oh, okay then. Anyway, in terms of effort to payoff, this is one of the best things you can do for your playing, not just jazz, but any style you're in. Grace note slides. So yeah, the opening example, what was that? Steely Dan's Josie. That's all tabbed out. That's in the tab. Let's go to the thing we all know so well, our 12th fret blues scale. You know, our pentatonic minor with the flat 5, the blue note. What a great scale. Now notice right now, with no grace note slides, all the notes tend to sound equal. Nice, nice scale for sure. Now watch what happens when I put a 1 fret slide from 11 to 12 on each string. It's going to force dynamics into the scale. Let's hear that again. Yeah, let's hear that again going up. See that? So that's a grace note. By putting a grace note slide there, like I said, it forces dynamics into your playing. And again, it's not a hard technique. We just have to remember to do it. And this is so cool because, listen again, a grace note is a plurp, whereas a picked note is a tick. Hear that plurp? And it's interesting because that's really 2 notes where there used to be 1 note. A nice clean tick, which is a nice note too. But yeah, that blurred attack, and yet it's a blurred attack, so it has softer attack, but it also kind of yields a bigger note because it's 2 notes. It's a very cool thing to use for any sort of melody. Now, before we go and look at the exact homework that I want you to do, I'm going to pull out a third camera here, activate hand cam, because there's some pick stuff I want to talk about. I'm using a Dunlop. I think you can see it here, the Dunlop Blue Turtle. I also sometimes use here's the other ones I like to use. The Pink Turtle. In fact, yeah, let's switch over to Pink Turtle. What is this, 1.14? Yeah, I like this one because it has beveled edges there. And I always, for some reason, it's so funny, I have to put the image on my thumb. I feel weird if it's not there. Now, when I'm playing in general these days, but especially jazzy, I'm going to move my hand forward. And notice on this Firebird, I'm in between. I don't want to click on that pickup, so I try to be in between these pickups. And I tend to try and keep it straight up and down. Again, let's hear that same. I'm going to just play the scale, no grace notes. So dead on. I don't tend to kick it forward like, that's for kind of speed picking stuff. I'm always looking for the fattest, just the most giant quarter note that I can possibly get. Now, the other one that I might use sometimes if I want a little more beef behind it is, and this I picked up from Hendrix, is if he had just such big hands, his hand would drop like this. But that's an exaggeration, but I would let the kind of the ass of the pick here drop a little bit, and that gives you more of a rest stroke. Notice it's a lot louder, so it's good if you want to kind of drive things a little bit more, but with that increased volume comes more noise. Let's hear that same going up. Yeah, this is fun. You can really see it clearly on this cam. Now when I come down, I'm going to aim for the 15s and the 14s as my grace note, and again, I'm going to put the pick back to dead flat. Let's hear that coming down exercise one more time. That is, here, let's shut this camera off. That's homework. That's your homework assignment. Just doing that. Believe me when I tell you, it's like one of these things that you work on it for a half hour. I was going to make a really, clickbaity title that was like, age you're playing 30 years in 30 seconds. It's kind of like that though. Like this is just it's a really cool thing to do. It really just blurs the lines and makes everything sound a lot more vocal. Now, if you got really good at the 12th fret position of pentatonic minor with those, you know what the deal is. There's always going to be 5 places to play everything. That's the caged world. So just for example, let's go back to this. There's an E minor 7 there. And let's see, here's our minor pentatonic, our blues. No slides. You can get up there if you had to. So first let me aim for this note back here. Again, this is all on the tab. And let's see, here we go. Coming down, I'm going to aim for the higher note. With just a little more thoughtfulness, your phrasing it just makes everything melodic you ever play sound better. And it's like, it's not harder technically, there's no sweating here. It's just that you shift your focus from how many notes can I fit into this space to, I think, the more interesting question, what kind of notes do I want to fit in this space? How am I going to get to those notes and how am I going to leave those notes? I think those considerations are so cool. I just think that's so cool. Now, just for example, let me pull up a solo that I took over that Steely Dan Josie thing, thinking this way, thinking about, all right, let me put some of these slides into place. Let's cut to it. Here we go. Okay, so if you're following along with this series, let's review what we've done so far. We talked about 7th chords, and we're getting those under our fingers and into our brains because I feel like that's a very important thing to understand, so you can have those at your disposal to play jazz-ish. Now we have this side of things, which is the melodic considerations of the way you'll move around. That like instead of our usual, those kind of things, we're thinking more. And like I said, it's not harder. We just have to shift. We have to shift gears a little bit. So that's like the harmonic consideration, the melodic consideration. Next week, we're going to dip our toes into playing to changes. And it's funny, everybody talks about following the thirds. There's actually one step before that, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to just talk about walking through those chord structures. That to me is the next thing. And the thing that's going to come after that, once we have all the techniques in place, is repertoire and analysis. That's the next thing. But I wanted to place all these things first, be like, here's harmonic considerations, here's melodic considerations, here's how playing to changes works basically, and then maybe we'll talk about repertoire and analysis, because that's kind of the part of any study is like you're like, okay, I understand the pieces, I understand what's necessary of me. Now let me start looking at things, learning them, playing over them, and then pontificating on them. Thanks so much to everybody who supports me in all the ways that you do, be it like, subscribe, and share. That all helps with the algorithm relevancy, which generates website traffic. On my website, you can book one-on-one time with me to work on guitar or to talk about your musical life goals. Like, that's what I do. Once the cameras are down and I'm done editing, I just go into the room right over there and I meet with people and we talk about guitar, we talk about music. There's also Patreon, where I put a lot of supplemental materials along with these videos, and there's exclusive live stream deep dives on subjects where I'm teaching and people are interacting in real time as we work through a subject. That's pretty cool stuff. Lastly, I do make courses in partnership with the folks at TrueFire.com. The Guitar Zen Caged one is the best seller, and I understand why. It's a really good foundational groundwork of how everything connects in the system. As Bill and Ted would say, be excellent to each other. That includes yourself. Happy Friday. Eat pizza. Oh, I didn't realize the cat was there the whole time.
No, she just walked in.
That's funny.